Hello, I'm Jamie Wyver from the RSPB's Notes on Nature team.
And hello, I'm Hazera. I'm from the digital side.
And in this short video, we're going to be looking at some of the wonderful wildlife photos that you've been sending us to the Nature's Home magazine inbox. We get so many. And of course, in the magazine, we don't always have space to show them. So hopefully in this short video, we'll be able to highlight some of the best ones that we've had over the last few weeks. Now, the first photo that we've been sent in is by Diane Navara, and it shows a cranefly, or a daddy longlegs, not to be confused with the daddy longlegs spider. Craneflies are quite prolific at this time of year. We've seen quite a few here in our own garden, and they will blunder around, crash against your windows, sometimes come into the house. Hazira, you've had a few in your house, haven't you, this year?
Yes, they have been around. I think all they're doing is looking for a date. So probably, crashing into ceilings and walls. Just cup them and take them outside where they can carry on with finding a mate.
And one thing that we were puzzling over just as we were looking at this photograph earlier was, what do the adults eat? So we know that the larvae, the leather jackets that live in lawns, great food for starlings and other birds, they will eat roots and what they can find beneath the soil. But we weren't quite sure what the adult craneflies eat. So we've been checking, and it seems that some of these species of cranefly will eat nectar, but a lot of the time, as Hazira says, they are focused entirely on finding a mate and breeding and creating the next generation. So they don't really get much time to eat, do they?
No, they live about 3 weeks, 10 to 15 days. So they will die just after they've mated, to be honest.
So enjoy them while you can. They are fascinating little creatures. And we've got another photo here, haven't we? What's this one?
I think that's the young great tit. I think it's looking for some food. In fact, they're one of the most distinctive songbirds. You'll hear them really loudly in early spring. Actually, it's probably the most distinctive one, kind of making a massive sound. It's the most massive sound you can hear from birds in the woods.
And they start singing pretty early in the year, don't they? From what I remember, that distinctive teacher, teacher, or sort of squeaky gate song.
Yeah.
And now that picture was taken by Pauline Clarke, and it looks like that young bird is having to forage for food in the rain. So it's got a bit of a tough start there, but it looks like it's poised to go and grab a caterpillar that's going to fall off a leaf. So thank you, Pauline, for sending that lovely shot in. And Jason Jones has sent us this picture of a kingfisher, and this was taken at Woolston Reservoir in Tring. And what you can see here is a kingfisher holding a fish a certain way around, which is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to eat that one by itself rather than give it to its mates or to its chicks. It's hard to know what time of year it is. I love the fact that they have these overlapping territories with the mate, actually, and they can be quite territorial. And I love the fact that they have their nests in the banks of rivers, and so in the clay that's surrounding tree roots and stuff like that. So that's a good place to look out for them, because they'll quite often perch on sticks nearby as well.
And funnily enough, they are quite hard to see, considering they're quite a brightly coloured bird. The first you'll notice of a kingfisher, the first time you'll be aware of its presence, will be that sort of electric whistle sound. And then if you're lucky, you'll catch a glimpse of this blue flash going past. But as you say, if you know the right place to look, you can catch them when they're perching.
Yes, the other way to find them is if you look for sticks and branches that are close to the bank. Sometimes they'll have their droppings on them, white droppings, and that's quite easy to work out when they're going to come back round, basically, because they tend to do kind of like about a kilometre's worth of moving around. I think the next one is the black-headed gull in winter plumage. It was sent in by Dave Buttery from the Edinburgh Nature Reserve. It's the one that you'll most likely see away from the sea, or you might see it in playing fields and even some big gardens. I think that's a good one to watch out for when you're doing the big garden bird watch. I love these. They're quite a rabble, aren't they?
I suppose it is, of the gulls that we get in the UK, it is the most inland gull. And as you say, in gardens now, big garden bird watch, we often get reports saying we've seen a common gull in the garden. Actually, it's probably more likely to be a black-headed gull, especially if you're away from the coast. So look out for that dark spot behind the eye and that red bill, and you've probably got a black-headed gull swooping down onto your lawn. Now, slightly bigger bird here. This is taken by Ian Preston. It's a great white egret, and increasing in number around the UK, aren't they? Have you seen many of these yourself?
I have actually. I think it was at Snettisham. There was a couple there, but that was about it. But they're not that easy to see.
If you're looking at a large white water bird and you're wondering if it's a great white egret or a little egret, it's quite hard to tell the size, especially if you're looking from a distance. You might be very lucky and see one posing beautifully in the water next to a little egret, and you can clearly see the little egret is tiny, and this is massive. This is the same size as a grey heron. The way you tell it apart easily from the little egret, if there are no convenient little egrets lingering nearby, is that it has a yellow beak and black feet, although the black feet are often hidden by the water, whereas the little egret has black beak and yellow feet.
The next one is a gorgeous little bird. It's a turnstone sent in by Suzanne Storm, taken at Loch Ryan. I've seen these quite a lot at places like Walcott in Norfolk, and they're called turnstones because they literally turn stones over to look for tiny little mollusks and shellfish and things like that are on the underside, and they're so charming, as well as they don't quite waddle or skip. It's a funny little walk that they do across the beach.
I think it's a scuttle, isn't it?
I think it's a scuttle. Yeah, I like the scuttle. That's probably the right term. Yeah. Have you seen them?
Yeah. So one thing that I was going to say about turnstones is that sometimes you'll be watching them and they'll sort of move away from you like any normal wild bird ought to. But sometimes they will approach you, and in places like sort of harbours and jetties, if people have been chucking food down or carelessly dropping chips and things, as well as the gulls that will come and take advantage, turnstones will as well. They will come and look for all sorts of scraps. They'll go for anything that washes up on the shoreline, basically. And in some places, they do associate people with food. So you can get close and you can get some nice shots. This one I particularly like because those lovely little orange legs and feet show up against the darkness of the stones behind it. So thank you for that lovely photo, Suzanne. Now, the last one here is another sort of shore creature. This is by Jeremy Eyeons. It's a common seal, and it's photographed off the coast of RSPB Titchwell Marsh in Norfolk. That's an unusual pose, isn't it? Do you think it's doing some sort of yoga there?
I don't know, but it doesn't look very comfortable. It's not a great way to catch fish, is it? But I've seen these up at Blakeney and Blakeney Point. They usually have their pups around June to August, so that's a great time to see them. And quite often on the Norfolk and Suffolk coast, you'll just see them bobbing up and down in the water, kind of looking at you like they're people watching. So I think they're fascinating as well. But it's really important to note that when they are pupping, not to go too close to them, because they're very protective, and we really don't want to harm the association between the mother and the pup. So I wouldn't recommend going near them, especially when you've got pets and things like that.
Yeah, and actually grey seals, the similar species, they have their pups in the midst of winter when it's really, really cold. Extraordinary. I have no idea why they do that, and I'd be fascinated to find out. But again, their pups will be on beaches and in certain areas of the UK during November, December, January. So again, please do keep your distance and let them go about their business. These are just some of the wonderful range of photographs that we get sent every day to the Nature's Home magazine inbox. Please do keep sending them in, and we'll show them off wherever we can when we get a chance. So do send them in to natureshome@rspb.org.uk. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.